Before we begin, I do need to honor the sponsor, which would be me. Are you feeling stressed out, perhaps overwhelmed by trepidation, anxiety, and other non-resourceful states and emotions? Well, then go ahead to guidedhypnotic.com and download your free guided hypnotic meditation. That's guidedhypnotic.com. All right. So are you ready for the best introduction you've had? And by the way, since you've woken up at 4:30 in the or 4 o'clock in the morning for you, I got to be the best introduction you've had since you've awoken.
It is.
It will be. Okay, are you ready?
It hasn't even happened yet.
I know. All right. Here we go. David Schirmer is best known as the car park guy in The Secret. He's an international speaker, entrepreneur, educator, and stock and commodity trader. David's background is farming in Australia. At age 28, he was financially broke and unemployed. Frustrated and confused, David stumbled across the book Think and Grow Rich, and soon after joined a network marketing company. This became a 5-year personal development roller coaster journey. As David began to master the mind and the law of attraction, he and his wife, Lorna, built numerous businesses, making multi-millions per year. Now, more than 400 million people around the world have watched, listened to, or read David's knowledge on the law of attraction and wealth creation. David and Lorna have 6 boys and 3 grandchildren. David's passion is helping other people succeed in business and in life. So first of all, thank you so much for sharing your most valuable asset, your time and wisdom, and getting up so early. You are down under. You are getting, it is early wee hours of the morning for you, and you have shared that you are a night person and you didn't stay up. You actually rested up. So thank you for that.
Awesome, Doug. Thank you. Yeah, that is the best introduction I've had all day.
Yeah, no, I know it was a cold read. I screwed up a little bit, but it's good. Good stuff.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, thank you so much. We've known each other for many years now. Heidi originally introduced us, and we had our infamous dinner in New York where I mortified Heidi by eating crickets, and yeah, that was good. But we came in, I believe you were up there sharing, you had a seminar going on at that time. And we came and supported you. You were doing a training on some of your wealth principles back then, if I recall correctly. That's how we first met in person.
Yeah, I think that was, I was actually doing a tour of the States. I think we did 5 cities in 10 days or something crazy. And we flew into the States and we had events booked right around, and I think New York was one of the stopovers, and we stayed a little bit longer in New York, but we caught up with you guys there. That was that was where we first met.
Yeah. And obviously a lot has happened in the world since then. But I share a little bit, obviously you've done quite a bit. And so much so obviously got you onto one of the, personal development's most renowned and infamous and famous movies, The Secret. How did that come about? Like, what were you doing prior to that? And did that experience change your trajectory or how you were doing business?
I think every experience changes your trajectory, but how did I get onto it? That's it's an interesting. It's been an amazing journey. As you said in my introduction, my background's farming, and I grew up with my parents and my family on a family farm. We actually had what you call a cattle ranch there, a cattle station in Australia. And so I'm from the farm, and really had no concept of personal development. Just knew how to work. My dad gave us a great work ethic, and I then left the farm, decided to start business. The wheels fell off. Found myself broke. Found myself just.
What was your first business?
Hopeless, without a job. I didn't go to university, didn't have any great education, didn't have a skill or a trade. My skill was farming, and so we found ourselves literally not being able to afford to pay our rent, and had to even borrow money to get groceries. And so
wow.
And I read this book. I started to read this book, Think and Grow Rich, and it took me a long time to actually understand it, because if you have no basis of personal development, you're starting from ground zero. My question was, how come there were people in my class? I was pretty intelligent in school, so I was up near the top of the class, but there were people in my class, one of my best friends, failed pretty well every subject. And I looked, and he was making far more money than I was. And I thought, well, you know, it blew my concept that intelligence equals wealth. And so I started to ask that question: how come people get rich? How come people become wealthy? And I read that book, and that started a whole new journey. Over the next few years, it was about 5 years, we went from absolutely nothing to making over $1 million a year. And then it went on from there. And I'd actually had gotten involved right from when my wife and I first met and got married. We actually got involved in the stock market, and I started to learn and understand that, and we'd built that up as well. And we ended up starting an education business in the stock market, because people wanted to know how come we were making money without having to work for it. It's been one of my concepts for many years. You want to create an income source where you can make money without working, even make money while you sleep. You know, I've been making money while I've been sleeping tonight. So
it wasn't such a hardship to wake up this morning, because it was, another, see how well I did.
Yes, yes. So literally, we went from nothing to making considerable wealth over a few short years. And I was at the time actually putting the information, my knowledge, onto, it was a video back then, DVD. And I employed one of the best producers in Australia to help me do that. And she was working on a project with Rhonda Byrne, the author and creator of The Secret. Now, I didn't know Rhonda, but I ran a seminar. I was running a seminar literally on the weekend that Rhonda Byrne read the book, The Science of Getting Rich. Her life had gone into chaos. Her daughter had handed her an ebook of The Science of Getting Rich. And then she went to work that Monday and said, I wonder if there's anyone around who understands this info.
We may have stopped. Looks like David has frozen. We're still live on Facebook right now. So what he was sharing is he was running a seminar in Australia, and Rhonda Byrne apparently had just gotten a copy of The Science of Getting Rich and was now, hey, what do I do about this? Is there someone else who could help me with it? Because that book is pretty intense, very esoteric in a lot of ways. So when you read the book, and I recommend you do read The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich, and get the workbooks if you can, because they'll walk you through all of the different opportunities to, let's see, I think David will be coming back. They'll walk you through like each chapter and how to apply it. And it's really valuable and instructive to be able to apply it as you go, rather than just the theory. Hey, Heather, someone's phone is, oh yeah, I think it's I'll pick the cricket. So hopefully David will be coming back shortly. So when you get the workbook, what it does is it walks you through each of the exercises and what to do. And we'll dive into this with David about the whole mindset shift, because it is a mindset. It really is all about that ability to master what's going on up here and have that belief in yourself, the belief in possibility, the belief in really your ability to deliver results, not excuses. Every millionaire I've ever interviewed, something that's been congruent about what they say is that the first million was the hardest. The first million is always the hardest. And that's all in the mind. It's all up here. And welcome back. He's coming back. Audio will be here shortly. Sometimes Zoom just acts funny and it stays on Facebook, but disappears on Zoom, but then comes back. And see, David is connecting, but not quite here. Ah, there you go.
Oh, dear. What's going on?
That was weird. Can you hear me? We're back. Oh, you got to open it up. Oh, there he goes. Lost him again.
I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I hear you.
And I'm not sure what's happening. Let me just check.
I hear you fine. Let me see. I pushed it here. I hear you. All right. Did you change computers?
Something strange has happened.
Yeah.
And okay, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You too, but you're frozen.
And I'm just going to log out, log straight back in again. Is that okay?
Sure. All right. So he's logging back in. Hey Heather. Yeah, it's weird. He's all the way down in Australia. Awkward. But he's logging out and coming back in. Hopefully it will come back fine, just fine. All right. Admit him. Let's see. All right. Connecting to audio.
I think we're back.
Yeah. Are you there?
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. I don't have your video yet. Oh, there you are. Yeah. That was so weird. Sometimes that happens, believe it or not, with Zoom. But we were on live the whole time on Facebook. So I elaborated a little bit. I just shared that it seemed that you were fortuitously available for Rhonda to share your experience with the law of attraction and so forth. And then I did talk a little bit about, and I know we'll dive into it more. One of the things I recommended was, of course, go out and get those books, Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich. I didn't mention the Master Key System, but they're all sort of related. Yes. But I recommended getting like a workbook with it as well to walk you through the exercises because even to this day, sometimes I still struggle with the concepts of releasing the evidence that you may be currently experiencing, and you shared it even in the secret, whereas, your bank account may still not have the numbers that you're attracting yourself to. So that was one of the things. So yeah, please, let's reconnect to your doing a seminar, and Rhonda reaches out to you because you're sharing the same video crew.
Yeah, so literally, that's how I was invited to participate in the secret. And Rhonda then asked me, "Is there anyone else that I knew that understood this information?" And I actually gave her the names and contact details of a number of people who later become teachers on the secret. And so that's really how it happened. It was actually the success that I'd been generating that sort of attracted her to me, as far as going from nothing to now creating considerable wealth. And so yeah, that's how it happened, and it just snowballed from there.
So let's go back to when you lost everything, you started over, and you read Think and Grow Rich. What were some of the first things you unpacked or were able to start applying to start getting the results? Because I think that's one of the biggest challenges I think people have is there's even we talked to James Ray the other day about it too, and even Tony Robbins will talk about it. Like the law of attraction, attract is one word, but action is the other word. How did you bridge that gap?
I think sometimes people will watch The Secret and get frustrated because it doesn't really, it's only a very shortened version of the success formula.
Right.
And the very first thing for me when I realized that it was to create create an image in your mind and focus only on that. Believe only in that, regardless of your circumstances around you. You have to actually believe in what the new reality that you want in your life, because our mind is an amazing thing. It's the most powerful thing. Most people don't use it or don't understand it properly, that our mind can literally create whatever it is we desire. The challenge is we're so used to looking at our present circumstances and believing that's who we are. And the truth is, our present circumstances is only a confluence of our thoughts, feelings, and actions up until now. And everything can change from this point onwards. If we actually change our thoughts, feelings, and actions at this point, we change our outcome. And so the first thing I decided to do, I was driving around in a car that I was ashamed of. I would pull up at the traffic lights, and when I took off, there was so much smoke around me that you couldn't see the person behind me. And you know, I'd go to the gas station, and I'd fill up with oil and check the gas. So it was not, you know, it was an old car, and I was it wouldn't even get me from point A to point B reliably, and I decided I wanted to change that. And I had already applied for numerous loans, and I got rejected, and so I then thought, well, my system's not working. I've got to try this other system. I went down to the local car dealership. I found the car I wanted. I got a photo of that. I put that photo wherever I could. I put it on my sun visor in the car. I put it on my mirror in the bathroom. I carried it in my wallet. I would even say to my wife, Lorna, as we got in the car, isn't this car amazing? You know, it's got electric locks. Our car didn't have electric locks. It's got, you know, I said, you know, I'd pretend to turn on the air conditioner, and the air conditioning, and it didn't have air conditioning. And so I literally, if you like, fantasized or role played to the point where I tricked my mind into believing it was real. And that's really the key. That was the very first thing. And what was amazing, within 6 months of starting to do that, we had the exact car that was in that picture. How it came about was just amazing. We still didn't have you know, any money, but literally we got approved where before we never got approved for a loan. And so it was just incredible. And that experience showed to me that life can be different. Life can be changed literally by what we focus on. And this is the biggest aha I think that people can understand. Every circumstance in your life right now doesn't have to remain the way it is. If you don't like it, you can change it, but you can't change it by looking at your present circumstance. You can't change it by complaining about how bad your life is or what's going wrong in your life, or even getting emotionally involved in the bills. Like, I had debt up to my eyeballs and over my head, and it's easy to focus on the debt in your life. It's easy to focus on the bad relationship. It's easy to focus on what's going wrong. What the hard thing to do is focus on how you want your life to be. And that really is the key, to focus on your new outcome, regardless of your present circumstances.
Yeah, so true. And I remember, and if I recall, you are a man of faith. Part of what you incorporated was also that, and when hearing that and that next level of faith, it's like what Christ talked about, the faith of a mustard seed. Like it's that belief is the seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive, but doing it like holistically. When I say holistically, I mean with your whole entirety, that, you know, seeing it, feeling it, being able to allow that to be your reality in here first. Yes. And that's the challenge. And I would say, obviously right now, and one of the reasons why also it's such a gift to be speaking with you now is, now more than ever, putting a timestamp on where we're at, you know, with COVID and all of that, there is more fear, more pain, more things to focus on, lack and pain and what's wrong, than ever before in my experience. And again, I wasn't around, back in, World War I, II, III, all that. So I don't know, if we had the same ability to think things were as dire as they were, are, could be, and so forth. But now, what tools do you recommend in creating that space internally to block out the stuff that's going on?
Yeah, in life, as I said, the hardest thing to do was focus on the truth, regardless of the present circumstances. The truth is, you can have, do, and be whatever you want to choose in life. To focus on that, Wallace D. Wattles said in his book, the science of getting rich. The hardest activity to man is to focus on the truth, regardless of experiences. It's harder than any labor, physical labor, that he would seek to do. And that's true. And we have to actually put in place some sort of process to help or facilitate our focus, because it's so easy when the doctor gives you a bad report. It could be cancer. People immediately focus on the sickness rather than focus on the health. We know the body is amazing. The body can actually heal itself, but it can't heal itself while we're focusing on sickness. We can't actually get money while we're focusing on debt. We can't have a happy, fulfilled relationship when we're focused on how unhappy or how bad our relationship is. And so the thing I always say to people is, make sure you have a clearly defined written vision, and your vision must be in present tense, and it has to be full of emotion, and make sure it's written. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I can't write. Well, if you can't write it out, just live with your life like it is. But you have to have a clearly defined written vision. All the great philosophers over history will say you need to actually, that's what Napoleon Hill talked about in his book, The Science of Getting Rich. You need to actually have this crystal clear vision, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. And so we actually have to create a new life, a new image. And we do that by sitting down and actually starting to articulate what it is we want. Most people spend more time preparing their annual holiday or planning the annual holiday than actually deciding how they want their life to be. Take time out and actually spend time every day, first of all, deciding what it is you want. Decide what it is you want, articulate it, paint the picture. Another experience I have is we had never owned our own home, and we decided that we wanted a home, but we didn't want any home. Once I understood this, I understood that the words "I can't afford it" disappear out of your vocabulary, because most people make decisions around money of whether they can afford something or not. Whether they can afford that car, or whether they can afford that home, whether they can afford that trip. And that's actually not the way successful people make decisions. They make a decision based on, do I want it or not? And if I want it, then I go for it. And so we made a decision to look at a house and find a home that suited us, what we wanted, rather than suited our budget. And it was way outside of our budget. And we got some images exactly the same way as the car. We got some pictures. We visioned it. We put it on a vision board. I spoke it out on a daily basis. In a very short time, we actually moved into that house, moved into that home.
So
and it was, yeah.
Well, so as you were doing that, how did you reconcile that vision of the house, the car, and all that with then what activities you needed to be doing on a consistent basis in order to also add enough value to the marketplace, to humanity, to whatever, to also, like, did you also visualize the work you were doing or planning on doing, or the business you were creating?
The answer is, I'm sure I did. But that wasn't the conscious focus.
Okay.
Because many people struggle with the how. If someone's earning $30,000 a year and they want $1 million home, or they want they want to create $1 million a year or $1 million a month, whatever it is they want. They struggle to actually even believe that's possible, because what's happening is their mind is trying to figure out the how. Our job is not to figure out the how. If we understand there's this creative power that's flowing in and through us. There's this power that's flowing in and through us, and we limit that power. We actually put the limitation on the power. The power is not limited. The power is unlimited. It can create in our life whatever we choose. But that's the key. We choose. We limit the power. And so rather than get caught up with the how, I just focused on the why. What is it? And so as we actually focus on this new vision, our activity begins to change. See, if we take action with the same mindset that caused our poverty, we will only create more poverty. We'll only create more lack. So often people think, oh, I need to do more action. No, you don't need to do more action. You need to do the right action. And the only way you can do the right action is, first of all, create or change the cause of what's causing you to do what you do. And so that comes back to vision. When you change the images in your subconscious mind, when a person changes the images from lack and poverty to abundance and prosperity, whatever that means to them, then all of a sudden what happens is their actions start to change, their emotions start to change within them, and their activity begins to line up with their vision. And so it's not to say we can't do any action. Do whatever action you know to do at this present time according to your vision. You're moving toward your vision. But what you find is your activity, your actions, your ideas all start to change. And you start to actually do things that you never did before. And so that's literally what happened to me. I started to do activities and started to do actions. I'd written down as part of my vision that I wanted to help change the world, that I wanted to influence millions of people. Who would have thought that was through The Secret? I didn't know. I didn't know the how, that I would have moved from Queensland to Melbourne and met this woman called Rhonda Byrne, and all that sort of stuff unfolded. But that was all because of a vision I'd written down some time before. And that then drives the action. And so your action then lines up with your vision.
So, and that's an important distinction, because I think, the question I came was born from, I think sometimes people were thinking like, all I needed to do after watching The Secret, like you shared, didn't give the whole picture, was all I need to do is visualize the house, and then miraculously I will wake up and I'll be in that house.
Yes.
It's that alignment of having the vision while continuing to add the value, continuing to do certain things, and being open to how that would happen.
Yes.
Like I think of this, and I obviously need to work on it, is, my purpose in life is to do everything I can to end suffering on the planet, right? It's a big goal. I'm okay if it's one person at a time. But that's why, like, doing this show, and like, part of my vision is for the show, like, oh yeah, Joe Rogan level, like, having, like just having huge impact. That doesn't mean that, I think what happens is, I think some people give up after some time because they're not willing to allow the law of gestation to occur. They're not kind of going, well, there is a lag time, that it's not, we haven't yet mastered instant manifestation.
Yes.
So how do you, as you were learning this and developing that process, were there times when you were ever feeling like, well, when is this going to happen? Or do I need to adjust? Or how do you keep calibrating and allowing yourself to break free from the immediate gratification conversation?
Yeah, it is so important, and we live in this world of immediate gratification. Many people around on the planet go to work on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, expect to be paid Friday, and if they're not, they scream and yell and yodel as part of the system we've created, and we have this shortened time frame what we believe or how we believe success should come. And if I step back a couple of steps and say, the first thing as part of your vision, you've got to decide to make it a must. You've got to, and decide comes from the Latin word decidere, to cut off, which means you cut off all other possibilities. If you've decided to make $1 million a year, $1 million a month, I don't care, $1 million a day, it doesn't matter. There's no, the subconscious mind, the universe has no concept of time or quantity. So you can decide what it is you want. But once we decide that and make it a must, we have no other option to do it until we achieve it. And so the concept of time, we confuse success with this concept of time, that it's got to happen in our time frame. And the fact is, if we let go of that and we just focus on what it is we want, the universe will bring it into being in the quickest way possible. And so I believe that comes from understanding how the process works. To me, the big aha, the big breakthrough was when I understood how the mind works and how that the process of our results it happens. And so that we think a thought, we consciously then choose that, we implant that, embed that in the treasury of our subconscious mind. It causes us to feel and act differently. Our body goes to work, the universe goes to work, and then we get the result. Now, as you said, we haven't got to the point of instant manifestation, but we can do it far quicker than not doing it at all. And so, literally, that it's understanding that the process does work, an absolute knowing that if you choose a new outcome, if you choose to focus on it, it will happen. There is no such thing as can't, don't, won't. It will happen. The only thing that decides whether it happens or not is your focus. Nothing else. Is actually you remaining focused on your vision. Of course, doubt and worry comes from ignorance. Doubt and worry comes from not knowing the process of creation. And so doubt and worry then creates fear. And as you alluded to before, this is what's right across the world right now. People are in this doubt and worry of this so-called pandemic. And doubt and worry actually are not of the future. They're of the past or present. We take the past or present, but we extrapolate that into the future, right, thinking or creating that very thing. And so what happens, the doubt and worry always cause fear. Ignorance always causes fear. And fear always is destructive. It always causes the result that we don't want. And so, that's a choice, by the way. Every person has chosen to be where they are right now. So,
and that's a tough pill for most to swallow, because and I get it. And, and on some level, I almost argue that we do experience instant manifestation in that the choice of the states or emotions that we decide to feel. So we choose fear. Ergo, we instantly manifest the pain that fear will provide us. And the challenge that I think that people sometimes struggle with is, and they don't see it, and that's what's so crazy, they don't see that they're creating fear from the unseen, looking for evidence, and it's still made up. Yet, for whatever reason, they can't create abundance in their hearts based on the same way they could find the evidence of abundance everywhere. And, like, you're not dying from COVID now, yet you're fearing, and you might as well be, because you're living as if you are. Yet, why can't you use that same, just switch that context and go, okay, but look at all this opportunity that's available. Put that same joy, that same gratitude, that same appreciation, that same fulfillment, and it'll lead you towards that too. And and we also know, neurobiologically speaking, the reason why I think we struggle with this is that we're wired for non-pain, right? Our pain sensors outnumber our pleasure sensors by 10 to 1. So
Yes.
that's why you shared, earlier, the hardest thing to do is that inner work to deny the path down to avoiding pain, because all you're thinking about is pain and you're wired that way, to focusing on the joy, the love, the passion, the abundance. And that requires discipline, requires effort. Did you ever find yourself like having to retune up, represent yourself to so forth?
Absolutely. The mind, as I said, the mind is an amazing thing. And while we focus on our present circumstances, our present, what people would say, reality, what is the past, confluence of the past thoughts, feelings, and actions. While we focus on that, we're in bondage. We're slaves. We're slaves to our mind. And to move out of that, we actually have to, as I said, we have to change the focus. We have to change the vision that we're focusing on every day. And of course, that's difficult. Maslow said that a person would rather step backward into safety than forward into freedom. And safety is the present circumstances. Safety is what we're used to. People call it the comfort zone. People would rather stay in that because it's comfortable. It's not comfortable to step out and become something different, something new. It's scary and it's awkward, and it's confusion. But it's at that point, we're at the point of a breakthrough. And so, and the only way we can go through that barrier or through that breakthrough is to constantly come back to our vision. See, if we allow ourselves to be consumed with the difficulty of the present, we will always go back to the pain of the present. We'll go back to the pain of even the past. And so what we have to do, and this is why it's so important to have a clearly defined written vision. You don't need a written vision when things are going great. What you need is you need it when the pain happens, when the challenges that happen, when things aren't happening how they should be, and you're starting to question, you're starting to doubt. That's when you need the vision, because doubt destroys your vision. And what we need to do is have something to focus us back on why we're going where we're going, why we're doing what we're doing. And so this doesn't matter whether it's in business, relationships, health, any area of our life. We need to be clear. We need to come back and say, this is why I'm doing it. And so that then propels us forward. It reminds us of the faith that we have. It reminds us of knowing that this must happen. And that's the difference between success and failure. It's the difference between abundance and prosperity and lack and poverty, is that one person in exactly the same circumstances will choose to focus on what can go wrong, and the other person will choose on to focus on what must go right. And that's the biggest key, is we've got to focus on what must go right, because there's a million people will tell you the reasons why you're going to fail if you let them, and if you listen to them, they'll tell you. And you're the only person sometimes who knows the reason why you must succeed. And that has to be what you grasp onto, the reason you must succeed, because if you do that, all the obstacles will give way and you will achieve the very thing you're focused on.
And the sad truth is sometimes those people who are going to tell you that it's not going to work or you're going to fail, oftentimes are people who are wrapping it in love. And they're trying to tell you, well, because I failed, ergo you're going to fail, because I had this challenge, it didn't work for me, it doesn't work, don't waste your time, don't hurt yourself. I think people don't realize that is worse than someone just basically saying, oh, that'll never work, you're stupid, don't bother, because then you kind of feel that contention. But if it's someone who comes and saying, oh man, I tried that before, that didn't work for me, don't, save yourself. That's an insidious little bit of seed. And that's where I think sometimes, you hear the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Someone can lose their drive because someone loving offered their words of advice based on their fear and failure, their model of the world. And also
people who love you Yeah. People who love you want to protect you. Yeah, we all do. We want to protect those that we care about, and we don't want to see them get into pain, and we don't want to see them make mistakes, if you like. But the only way that any invention of any creation of success has ever happened is people make mistakes and people continue to push through it. And so, it's that love and care that also will then often pull people down. And we know this in business. We know this in network marketing. It's one of the stigmas in that particular industry is we will share it with people we love and care about because we want them to be involved with us. But they're the very people that will try and destroy it, not because they know, not because they have any knowledge of it, it's because they actually don't know and they're trying to protect us. And so it happens in everything. And so literally that's what we have to be cautious of that and be aware of it, but understand other people don't have your vision. They don't have your dream. And so taking advice from them, particularly negative advice, is doesn't actually make sense. When you look at it logically, they haven't got your vision, they haven't got your dream, but they're telling you how to do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I remember the first bit of real estate we bought. I was a little nervous at first. Right? I was like, we got to start down payment, all this stuff, take on new debt and all that. And my friend, dear friend and mentor, was like almost like a mother bird, throw him out of the nest. Like, no, do it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, stop it. Stop listening to boom, boom, boom. Just trust. Do it. Trust the process. Trust it's going to happen. And our why was bigger. We had that purpose. It's like, okay, we got to build our real estate empire. We've got to, start doing it. And it's scary. And, I think that also reminds me of, I think, was it Ben Franklin who said, I think it was something along the lines of, people would never give up freedom for so whatever it was at the time, but they will for security. For safety. And that's that dichotomous kind of line that we're always straddling because we want to create like financial freedom for the security it would provide. And if that makes sense, I think for some, that's what they're ultimately saying. For some, they want the financial freedom so they never have to worry about money ever again. But that's the weird line that we straddle, is to stay focused on the freedom and then be open to all of the amazing other things that you don't know is going to occur from that has nothing to do with like the lack of debt. It has everything to do with the freedom of spirit, the freedom of opportunity, the freedom, all of that, which can be very scary for some. Yeah.
Absolutely, fear is the biggest negative emotion, and of course the fear of death is one of the biggest. The thing that most people are scared of the most, and so right now that's very evident that people are in this fear of death, and they're looking for safety, they're looking for security, and so if someone offers it, they're going after that rather than focusing on health, rather than focusing on abundance, prosperity. We always see in times of great crisis in a country or the world, the greatest inventions, the companies that become huge start up during those times. Why is that? Because one person decides to focus on what must go right rather than focus on what's going wrong.
100%. So now as we're moving forward and applying this, what do you think is sort of next for us? Because we've been certainly inundated with there's no shortage of fear and opportunity. And here's what's actually pretty interesting. If you or I posted something negative about somebody or something right now, we would get like probably tons and tons of engagement and people going, yay or nay, or you're wrong, or blah, blah, blah. If it was something of certain extremity, right? Like, F this guy, screw that guy, this guy's wrong, blah, 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 mask, no mask, yada, yada, yada. Yet here we are having a conversation that is transformative, that offering light, offering an opportunity, and there won't be the same amount of engagement. There won't be the same amount of excitement. There won't have like, hey, this is, like, oh, and sharing and all of that. But, you see a meme about, Joe Biden or Trump or whatever, and then it's all over the place. I'm sure you've noticed it. What can we do about it?
It is fascinating. It is fascinating to see that someone will post up something. I did this and I did it by accident, and I know I shouldn't have, but I posted something on my Facebook wall. It was quite controversial, and I said to my wife afterwards, "Isn't it amazing? You can post a video that's life-changing. You can post a positive quote that can help people, and you might get 1, 2, 3, 4 people that actually like it or comment, and then you post something on Facebook that is negative or controversial, and you'll have hundreds of people that will come out of the woodwork, and people you've never seen for a long time or heard from a long time, and this is the thing. You can allow yourself to get consumed in the world around you, but the question is, does that actually move you forward? And it doesn't actually move us forward to the direction we want to go. And so the biggest key, the biggest lesson we can learn from that is to choose not to be involved. Choose not to be involved in the negativity, in the arguments, whether masks on or masks off, or Trump or Biden or whatever's going on in your local area. You can actually choose to participate in that, or you can choose to say, this is my vision. This is what I will direct my energy and my focus towards. Whatever's going on around me is going to go on with or without me.
Right.
And it's not going to move me closer towards my goal. A great question we can ask ourselves when we come up against something: is this going to move me closer or further away to where I'm going? And so if it's not going to move us closer, if it's controversy, if it's negativity, and it's not going to move us closer, why participate? And people will. We don't have to be part of them.
Well, true. And I think, sadly, a lot of those controversial comments and so forth, I think, are born out of the illusion that it is helping. That I think, unfortunately, people get addicted to, they get a dopamine rush, and then they feel like they're doing a service. And it's very sad that that's the case, because I think it, again, shows where our avoidance, our pain issue, comes from. That if you're choosing, like if your choice has gotten to the point where it's like, okay, am I going to have an axe murderer or a rapist watch my kid, as a babysitter? We're in a much worse position as far as decision-making opportunities. And I think that what we really do, like we shared, is when we decide to no longer participate in that negativity, we're then allowing other options to come in, and it kind of runs the addiction model. A friend of mine, very successful, transformed his life from addiction to he's sober and so forth, and grew a great business. And we're hanging out, and I was doing some work with him, and we're hanging out in his office. We built the company up to 300 employees, and we're having some challenges with all of this, buying new centers and all of that. And we were talking about it all, and like just how crazy it was. And then we were sitting there going, man, this is like a good kind of drama. Like if we're going to have challenges and like some sort of chaos, at least this is chaos that is like helping people, and we're, growing a business, we're providing jobs, we're transforming lives. That's way better than, running from the police and worried about where you're going to get your next, bit of drugs. And yes. I think that the biggest transformation that hopefully we can stand for is people, if they're going to be addicted to positive transformation, be addicted to servant leadership, be addicted to, helping someone grow their business, and like stuff that we're partnered in, right now, there's so many opportunities where people are hurting. And instead of getting on Facebook and complaining about who's going to be president or master, no masks, how about get on board with a company that is working from home and spend your time and energy helping people and making a difference, and be part of the positive cause of transformation rather than the cause of fear and anger.
Yeah.
I sorry to get off on that tangent. It's just it gets me riled up sometimes because I really do stand for people, leading the most amazing life, and I know it's possible, and it's all we can do is offer those resources.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Doug. There are some people that don't know what the adrenaline rush of success even feels like, and so we've got to understand that everyone acts according to their programming, and 90% of the way we act is from the programming that we received before the age of reason. The age of reason is between age 9 to 12. So from birth or conception until the age of reason, we're just accepting whatever we think is truth in our environment. We don't question whether it is. And then most people go throughout life living their life from those paradigms, from that self-image that they actually learned from their parents, their siblings, their peers, the people around them, the media, etc. In those early years, they live their life through that lens. And so living that way is normal. That's what they believe is normal. And of course, when you challenge that, often that can become quite a heated debate and quite scary. But that's them. They're living through that lens. And the question that I would encourage people to actually ask themselves, is my way working? It's what I had to ask myself. One of the big ahas or challenges for me is I actually when we were broken, we couldn't afford to pay our rent and buy food. I had to humble myself, and I went to a really good friend and I said, "Can we have $100 because I need to buy groceries for my family?" And I knew he had it, and he pulled his hand in his pocket and he pulled out $100 and he handed it to me. And he said, when he handed it to me, he said, "I want you to realize one thing." He said, "You are where you are because you've chosen to be there." Now, I tell you what, if I didn't need the $100 for food, I would have smacked him and left. Because I thought that was absolutely disgusting that he would tell me that I chose to be in this situation. And, I can tell you all the reasons why I thought I was in that situation. And I got angry. And for the next week, I was angry. I thought about that constantly. And that one thing is what led me down the road to personal development. Is I realized, even though I can't control everything in the world, I can't even control someone else. But what I realized is I had made choices in my life to bring me to that point. And once I accepted that I'd made choices to bring me to that point of which I hated, I also had the power to make choices to have a different life. And so everyone has the ability to change their life. That's the biggest thing that we can understand, that we are responsible for our circumstances. We are responsible for where we are now. You can go to a person and you can give them $1 million idea, and the person will reject it because of their current paradigms. And so we choose every day. And most of those choices are actually subconscious. We don't make them consciously. They're subconscious choices based on our past conditionings. Our circumstances, conditions, and events from the past cause us to make choices with the information we have today. And many of those choices may not be leading us in the direction we want to go. And so we have to, first of all, realize the choices we make are actually the cause of where we are right now. And once we reconcile that, we also then understand, we can get excited because we have the power to make different choices. We have the power to change the programming in our subconscious mind. We have the power to actually create an entire new life, an entire new world. And it can happen so quickly, like night and day. You wake up one morning, you're broken in poverty, and then you wake up one morning and you have more money than you ever thought you'd have. And it's almost like a dream. And people don't realize that, but that's a personal choice. You choose that.
And exactly, it's back to the faith. You've got to have the faith and the belief in yourself, the belief in that possibility. And it's that paradigm shift of possibility thinking, as opposed to, and that's how you transform it or transmute it into probability thinking, because now you have that energy. And one thing I would recommend is surrounding yourself in that environment, in that ecosystem, with people who are holding you to that standard, believing in you, but also in themselves. So you have a model to go, okay, cool. All right. That's the norm, as opposed to, like you shared earlier, the pre-reason thinking, your indoctrination can shift as well, just by the company you keep, just by surrounding yourself with people who don't think a certain way. All boats rise and fall with the tide. And I think, that collective consciousness there's microcosms and then the macrocosm of what's happening in the world. And technology has sped everything up, for good or for bad.
Yeah.
Like, as we could use the example, like with the company we're partnered with, it's a technology-driven company that creates amazing things, a powerful tool. With that very same tool, very same technology, you could be basically destroying your life by getting addicted to, negative stuff on social media or the news.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's, in life, people, it's all a choice. You can choose the negative, choose the positive. I remember when we first moved, and this was just as we were coming out of this challenge that we didn't have money. We first moved from Queensland to Melbourne, and I said to my wife, I'm going to find a house in the most affluent suburb I can find. And if I can't get a house there, I'm going to get one right on the edge of it, because I wanted to surround myself with people who knew how to make money. I wanted to surround myself with people who had the look and feel of wealth and prosperity. I didn't want to live in a suburb. I didn't want to live in an area that was where I'd been, because I knew that I would become just like those people. I wanted to actually surround myself with people that were far more successful than me, because they knew something I didn't. In fact, this comes right back, to Tony Robbins. I actually went to the first UPW. I couldn't even afford to get there. I didn't have the money until I walked in the door to pay my ticket fee. It's a long story, but I actually, I started I read the book Think and Grow Rich. I went to a seminar, and someone said, buy the book, Unleash the Power Within. I started to read it, and I said, I don't care where this guy is, I'm going to find him, I'm going to go to his event. Well, it just so happened he was coming to Australia 3 months later. It was only the second time ever he'd come to Australia. And I went, and I wanted to go to his event. I didn't have a car. Remember, I had a car that
couldn't get you there.
Could hardly get anywhere, and I didn't have the money to even get the fuel, let alone the accommodation or the ticket. But I made a decision to go, and it was 3 months out. What I did is I found a person who would lend me their car. I found 3 other people who I encouraged, convinced, whatever I had to do to come, and they paid for the fuel. And none of them knew that I hadn't got a ticket yet, and I didn't have the money to pay for the ticket. And it was we drove from Queensland to Sydney in Australia to go to this event. And literally, I went to the ATM as I walked in there and to check whether there was enough money. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I checked if there was enough money to buy the ticket to go in there. And somehow someone had deposited money into my account, and I had enough money to buy that ticket that day.
Wow.
And that's how I ended up at Tony Robbins. And when I went to Tony Robbins, I made a decision that he was making more money than I was. And I had to learn what he knew. So I didn't go once. I went 9 times to UPW. Wow. And I kept going back, and I kept going back, and I kept going back. And no one else that come with me the first time come more than twice. But I had to change because my life wasn't going in the direction I wanted it to go. And I saw him as someone who had a result like I wanted to have. And I kept going along.
Wow. And that's very, not similar for me in that when I went, ultimately I was able to afford it. But for me to get the gig with Tony, very similar in that I wasn't qualified for the gig. And I had to, when I look back to how any of my successes in life came from really everything we're talking about. I made a decision. I was like, okay, Tony, I practiced what Tony taught me, and I became very successful in the music industry. Then the music industry, crumbled, and I had to start over. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to help people make music of their lives. Who's the best? I'm going to do what Tony said to do. And I did, and it worked. Modeling. I'm like, I'm going to model Tony. How am I going to get the gig with Tony? I have no idea. But I, having that visualization of just seeing, hearing, feeling, just imagining getting that gig and having that opportunity was great. Then not the next thing you know, it took 6 months, but there you go. I'm on the road with Tony. And by the way, it didn't just happen easily. There were still challenges along the way, but because I had that vision, I believe that I was able to push through and do what I needed to do naturally because it was in alignment with what it was that I believed in or believed it was possible for me. Now let's shift a little bit as far as now this mindset piece as well, because getting to help people, right? Network marketing is right now one of the few opportunities that absolutely anybody can get involved in a time when people are losing gigs, companies are closing, that no one knows what to do, and there are belief systems around that business model. And for you, you've been around for a while. You've been very successful in, quote, traditional businesses. What was it for you that was able to make a shift so we can help people who are like, I need to do something, but I don't know, like that doesn't seem like it's a real opportunity?
Yeah. Life is an amazing journey. What can I say? As you said, I've built traditional businesses. I've made millions of dollars in wealth creation. I'm a commodity and stock trader. I make money. I've done, I've learned that art, that skill over years. And so when someone came to me and said, you've got to look at this network marketing opportunity, I was already running in the opposite direction. I was not interested in another business, and I especially wasn't interested in network marketing. And I just said to this person to try and fob them off, I said, listen, unless I own the company or join at the very beginning, I'm not interested. And I said, unless the products have a real direct benefit for me, I said, definitely not interested. And now normally when I've said that to people, I never hear from them again. and this person said, listen, just try the products. Now I have to always go back. Once we understand, we study material on success. One of the things that we have to do is we can't be closed off totally to opportunity, because we know if we're going in a certain direction, we have a certain vision. Sometimes the universe brings along an opportunity that's not even in our radar, and we wouldn't even look at it. And I wasn't even looking for this opportunity, and really that's what happened. And so And right now, the home-based business models are actually exploding, as you said, because we're in this COVID. People are working from home. People have lost incomes, and the opportunity to actually create an income from home is probably the best we've seen in the history of the, at least in my lifetime, as far as creating wealth from your lounge room, creating wealth from your kitchen. And so, I looked at this opportunity, and the more I looked at it, the more I said, well, what's stopping me? What's stopping me? If this company is a brand new company, it hadn't launched yet. I did all my due diligence. I checked the founders and the product formulator behind it and so on. The product stacked up. The products actually worked for me. And so then my question is, well, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? If this is such an opportunity. And I know people who earn millions of dollars per year in network marketing. And of course, I also know people who joined dozens and never made any money. But what I also know is a person's success is not governed by what they do, but rather what they think while they do what they do. And so network marketing is, people discard the opportunity, but it's not the opportunity that doesn't give the result, or doesn't help people create wealth. It's actually the person has to change to create wealth. And so I looked at, I was, as I said, I was not interested. I was running in the opposite direction, but I got to the point saying, well, why wouldn't I? The opportunity could be huge, and it is huge. And so that was sort of what led me along that journey. Like, I believe in multiple sources of income. I don't care who you are, unless you have multiple sources of income, you're not really playing the game. So you need to actually create multiple sources of income. Why not now? Why not in the time where it is the easiest time to build a home-based business?
It's so true. I mean, so many people are home, so it's not like you can't get in touch with them, and people are necessarily potentially too busy to do it. But again, it is all the mindset. So what was it for you that allowed that paradigm shift, that you were able to block out whatever stories you told yourself about network marketing and all of that, to own, because that's really what it ultimately becomes. It's the people who succeed at anything just believe 100% in what it is that they're doing, and they don't have that negative chit chat as much. And while it sometimes does show up, they're so focused on their outcome and so forth. Some things have bigger, experiences or meanings or beliefs around it, both internally and externally. What was it for you that was able to, like, was there a thing, a statement? I got the multiple streams. I got that was very, cerebral, but how did you align what you know and then what you feel to then be able to jump in?
One thing I've learned, Doug, through business and through other ventures, is my success or lack of it is not caused by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking at this opportunity, we always run stories. What if this, what if that? And I caught myself doing that. And so, I don't know enough people. I don't want to do that. There's this stigma in the marketplace and so on. And then I caught myself doing it and said, hang on, if I believe in the law of attraction, I believe that we create our own success. What am I doing thinking, even thinking this information? Because my success in anything is not determined by a particular person. It's the same in network marketing. It's not determined by someone else. It's determined by you. If it's to be, it's up to me. And so my success is not who I could actually recruit or who I can get as a customer or anything else. my success is determined by my mindset. My success is determined by my vision. As Genevieve Behrend said in her little book, Your Invisible Power, all obstacles must give way to the person who's focused on their outcome or their goal. And it's the same with network marketing. It's not to do with your skill. It's not to do with your ability. It's not to do with who you know. It's not to do with how smart you are, where you live, anything like that. It's got to do whether you make a decision. And so when I looked at that and I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to do this. And I made it a must. I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this a must. This has to happen, and there are no other options. There are no so I can't say well, I'm going to do it for a year and see what happens. No, you can't win a war by going into it thinking there's an option of failure.
Right.
You can't actually succeed by doing something when you believe, well, I'm going to quit if it doesn't work. Because it doesn't work, not because the system doesn't work. It doesn't work because of you. It doesn't work because of me. It doesn't work because of the person who's actually doing it. And so I made a decision that it must happen. And it doesn't matter who comes in, who drops out, what happens, whether, we know success is not a straight line journey from point A to point B. It's like this, and so the only thing the reason why someone will create $1 million a month in this business and someone will start and quit and never make a cent is because one person decided to focus on what must go right, and the other person is focused on what can go wrong.
So true. And I just want to also preface this as well, or just to share, is that you got into this before COVID. You got involved, and none of this whole challenge, it wasn't like, you were like, oh, well, I got, here's some, it wasn't like that kind of pressure. It was like, no, it was a genuine opportunity that you said, hey, this is something that you believe in and wanted to get on board. And that's when, obviously, just a full disclosure, as we offer any opportunities, you and Dr. Fab, you connected us, and they, said, hey, let's, is there something you'd be interested in? And the truth is, as well, is it's really important, again, as I shared earlier, about the company you keep. And what I found is, as well, as I've gotten older, oftentimes the only times we get to really spend time with people we love and care and admire are if we do projects together in some fashion. It's, it's gotten to that point. So these are the opportunities when you're getting involved in something like that, go, man, do I want to learn from this person? Do I want to grow with this person? Is this a tribe that I want to be part of? Because there's so much you could get. I mean, the love and the camaraderie and the support. When I was working with, with Tony all the time, we spoke at a lot of network marketing, and those teams are families. Like they love and support, and just the energy and the ability for people to just see the best in that person. And like you shared, success is not a straight line. So to have that resource of people to just keep you, it's like built-in mentoring and coaching that you'd actually probably have to pay a lot of money for. Like, as an example, working with you, if someone were interested in and reached out to us, they'd be getting coaching from you, from me, from Fab, like stuff that would not be available otherwise, at least for the opportunity. You could hire you to be a coach, and that would be quite expensive. But if the investment would be certainly higher than actually investing in yourself and winning by building a business with you at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, Doug. Like you're like me, Dr. Fab Mancini. We love helping people. We love actually giving people some distinctions and helping them succeed and holding their arm and walking on that journey with them. There's such great gratification that comes when you actually help lift someone up out of their present circumstances, give them an opportunity, but not just give them an opportunity, you actually walk alongside with them. And this is one of the things that I decided with, if I'm going to do this, it's not going to be just a little bit of me. It's going to be all of me. It's going to be, I will put 100% of me into someone else. And so I could, I mentor people. I look for the willing. I don't look for the unwilling. People can become extremely hard work, but if someone is willing, I know that I can change their life. I know that I can take them by the arm. We can walk through this journey together, and we can create phenomenal success beyond what they believe is possible. Because I know the power of the human mind. I know that if you actually reprogram the human mind, if you show someone how it works and you can help them reprogram it, they will move the world. They will actually change their life, not just their life. They will change the life of their children, their grandchildren. They'll actually change the lives of generations to come if you actually just give them the track to run on, if you like. And so you're right, I've charged thousands of dollars to mentor someone with this information, where I actually help people. I run as you know, I run a program called You Were Created for Abundance every week, and it's only available for people who were part of our team, and we build them up. And like I said, it's like family. We go through challenges together. We celebrate the success together. And it's just awesome to be able to work with people, to mentor people, and to help them on this journey. And so, absolutely.
Well, and I know this to be true because I've known you for years, and you've always been consistent, and that's always who you are. So this is nothing different. This isn't like out of character for you. And then when you introduced me to Dr. Fab and Karen, and like, they're the real deal. They're, no pun intended with the show, but like, they're straight up. I mean, you were like, hey, why don't you go, have a friend, go meet them. You guys are pretty close, I think, right? How far are you from Hollywood? And I was like, oh no, it's like an hour. Went down there, and Fab was like, come on in, just totally in open arms, invited me into his mastermind, and was like, spent the day, and Les Brown came, and we talked to, as Mark Victor Hansen, and like, it was just this like great group of people that, if anyone is ever considering getting into a business from home, an opportunity, if you could find one like this, where you have access to such incredible leaders, jump on it, right? Because there's not going to be any challenges of support or figuring it out. Like you guys, you and Dr. Fab and Karen have made it, and Lorna, you've made it in other areas of life that you're just bringing into that. You were super successful prior to doing this. Dr. Fab and Karen, super successful before doing it. So it's like, it really is a huge resource that, obviously would love to offer people opportunities, and more than just, hey, here's some great conversation. Like, here's some mind shift stuff. Like, no, if you want more, like, go out and find somewhere else, or try this, like, learn more about what we've got to offer.
Yeah, I remember Jim Rohn, which you'd know was one of Tony's mentor, and I got to spend time with Jim as well. And Jim said, if your way is not working, try mine. And so I come across people who will resist trying my way, and I look at their life and think, well, why would you want to keep going with that life for? It sucks. And so, and this is what I say to people, this is not, when you get involved in a network marketing company, particularly involved with me and Dr. Fab and us, and it's not a network marketing company. You're actually on a life journey. You're actually on a personal development, personal growth journey, because I know it's not the vehicle that actually will cause a person to create wealth. Because if you just go and take on another idea, another opportunity, another job, all you're going to do is keep getting the same result, because we literally create our result by the paradigms we hold in our subconscious mind. Our result is always a direct reflection of that. And if we're not changing if we're not changing the paradigms, if we're not changing the images we hold in our subconscious mind, whether it be health, wealth, happiness, health, or any area, if we're not changing them, then we're going to continue to get the same result day after day after day. And so this is not a journey about creating money. It will do that. I'm good at doing that. It's a journey. You have to actually grow into it. You have to actually become the person who owns that money, become the person who leads from the front, become that person who creates success wherever they go. And that mightn't be you right now, but it can be. It can be, well, if you choose to be.
That's great. Yeah. And a couple of things that one, to whom much is given, much is required, much is expected. That's the power of choice. We're given that power, and it is a big decision that we're making. We're either choosing to grow or not. And, using Jim Rohn, Earl Shope used to share with Jim Rohn, that was exactly what he said. He goes, don't go out, earn $1 million, but not for the $1 million, but who you must become in order to create that $1 million. And that's so important. And, again, I think one of the things that we also forget, and I'm not sure I realized it, and I think that's part of the stigma maybe, so many successful speakers and authors and other businessmen, they have a network marketing business. And oftentimes that's where they made all their money. I'm not sure it's public knowledge or whatever, but it's my understanding that Tony, when he bought the castle, and he shares how he made that $1 million in that 6 months, whatever it is, to buy that house, he was working with Jim and Herbalife. He doesn't talk a lot about it because he didn't want to be known as that. And that may have been also because of Jim was the network marketer, personal development guy, and Tony went into other areas to grow it. But Joseph McClendon, all of the people, I can't think of any big speaker or person who has high levels of success that aren't crushing it in network marketing on some level.
And it just makes sense, Doug. I can make money doing anything, but many things. The thing I love about this company, this industry, is the residual income. You do something once and you get paid over and over and over again. I've had companies I've built, I've employed staff, and traveled all over the world, as you know. There's very few things you can do that actually, you can write a book, you can write a movie script, but there's very few things you do that you can be physically absent. You can go away. You cannot be present at all. And not only do you still get paid, you actually come back and you've been paid more. Your business grows. Mm-hmm. We traveled to the States and we met up with the company and Dr. Fab and Karen last year in October for the official launch. And we got back and our business had doubled and we weren't even here. So this is the thing that I get passionate about. And people often look at network marketing, one of those things, it's one of those pyramid things, whatever connotation they have in their head. But the truth is that right now it's as more incredible opportunity than it ever has been in history. And if your way is not working, why not do something different? If you're looking at actually creating an income, if people are looking at creating a different life, this is an amazing journey, and we can help them, we can guide them along that pathway. And as I said, I work with the willing. I don't work with the people who don't want to. And if the people are willing, we can change this. We can help them change their circumstances. We can go arm in arm on that journey together and actually create a different life and create a legacy, not just for you, but create a legacy for generations. And that's the opportunity. It's not just simply a business.
I strongly recommend, if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing, we're not, this isn't a plug for the company right now. This is a genuine offer to learn more to take your life to the next level. What we want is to be more than just like a voice box here and talk about like, oh yeah, look at all these great examples. And I do that. And I also want to literally be able to offer someone an opportunity as well than just a exposure to information. Because it's really confounding to me that with so many opportunities available, so few people are willing to take advantage of them. And something like this is super easy, super available. And it all starts up here. All the work that we're doing, the entire conversation we've had, whether you get involved with network marketing, real estate, starting your own business, writing a screenplay as you talk, the only thing stopping you is you. And if you can get on a team to help you, all the better. Because, teamwork makes the dream work, is the old saying.
Yeah. You so need a cheer squad. You need someone who's going to support you. And unlike almost every other industry out there, when you join a team, when you get involved, you actually have people who it's in their interest to help you succeed. In fact, it's their interest to help you succeed more than they are. Because that's the way the whole compensation plan is structured. And so it's all about helping people, as you said, family and lifting people up and mixing with people who are more successful than yourself.
Well, and last thing I want to point out is because I think there are a lot of money monks out there, a lot of people, I think unfortunately we've been conditioned through media and otherwise to demonize the successful, to demonize the rich. Like there's something wrong with you if you're, wanting to have abundance and that kind of thing. That makes you a bad person. And that only serves, nobody. So I think one of the first things also that people need to let go of is the idea that, success, money is bad. And that to look at if that's truly what you felt and you really want to help someone else, network marketing is probably one of the only businesses that you should be able to do because it's based on helping other people succeed. So it's the opposite of successful people in network marketing are the opposite of anything you could ever have negative about someone who makes a lot of money in other ways, potentially, because they're actually making money because other people they help succeed. So if anyone has any issues around success, know that your success is based on helping other people succeed.
Yeah, it's so true, Doug. You cannot succeed without actually helping other people succeed. Even though I say it's not dependent on a single person, it's not dependent on a particular person, but it is dependent on people. And you actually have to actually let go of your own ego. You have to help build people up. You've got to lift people up. And the world so much needs that right now. There is so much negativity. You can get so consumed. Just talking to a friend today, saying that they're just getting consumed in all the negativity on Facebook. I said, switch it off. Get away from that. It'll destroy you. It'll destroy your soul. And so we can in this business, it's about lifting people up. And like you said, it's one of the few industries, one of the few businesses where it's not a dog eat dog. It's not, it's not competitive. It's actually a helping. It's lifting people up.
Yep.
And you can only succeed by helping other people succeed. And that's one of the exciting things about it. One of the challenges also. You're building up people more than anything. I say to people, in our team, we are solution finders and we're hope givers. That's really where our job is, to actually help people find a solution in their life and give them hope where often they don't have it.
Amen, brother. Well, I'll put this out there. If anyone is interested in learning more about that opportunity, please reach out to me and we'll set up a call with David or Dr. Fab, whoever's available. We're not going to wake you up in the middle of the night like you did to come up here. So thank you. You're being down under. But it is, a tremendous opportunity to be part of a family of people who truly care and truly love people and want to be part of the positive change, the positive paradigm shifts in people. Is there any final words that you'd like to share, or anything that else you're working on that you want to share that people could get in touch with you or learn more about to just dig in deeper?
Yeah, Doug, I've always just been willing, as you know, to help people. If people reach out to me, I just freely give, because I know that it always comes back many times over. And so, I just say to people, if you want to reach out to me on Facebook, send me a message or something through Facebook, or send me an email. And if I don't respond, send it again. Because sometimes I miss information or whatever, and it gets a little bit you get too much sometimes. But that's the best thing to do. Make a decision too. Make a decision about your life. Make a decision. Make some new choices, and move forward. I'd love to be able to help people to build a global business, to build a team. But that's the way I help people now. Like, as you know, I've taught many people how to trade and invest in the markets. I see people getting to that every day. They don't realize that's a 2 to 5 year apprenticeship. To do it properly, I can help people make more money quicker, just by building a business in network marketing, and changing their mindset. So.
Yep. Well, dude, thank you so much for sharing and coming on. And of course, if anyone wants to be part of the team, reach out to us, and we'd love to just share with you what opportunities and level of support. And it is endless. You guys are, between you, Lorna, Fab, and Karen, the resources are unbelievable. And I know it's too much even for that I can even take on, because it's like there's something going on all the time. So there's never any times where you're kind of going, oh, I wonder if I can, connect or tap in and just get some good advice. It's always available. And it's from the heart as well. So, brother, I love you for who you are and who you aren't. And thank you so much for sharing. I think, what you shared was brilliant. And I know if people just applied 1/10 of what you shared today, their life would change.
Thanks heaps, Doug. I know. And that's the exciting thing, is we don't know who's listening. We don't know who will watch this. Someone will actually see this, and they will change their destiny, and they'll change the destiny of their family and their children for generations. And so, I just want to thank you for putting this on. I want to thank you for actually making this available for people. It's been so much fun, and look forward to sharing with you and people that follow you in the near future again, and having fun with this business as well. It's just such an honor.
Well, yeah, thank you. And I mean, multiple streams, massive passive income is the goal. And again, I'll just share anyone who's done like Millionaire Mind Intensive, or Robert Kiyosaki, or any of those other things. If you don't already know David and Fab, they're going to say the same thing: multiple streams, get out there and have multiple opportunities to support you and your family, make a difference. So with that being said, God bless you and Lorna, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Hopefully we'll be allowed out of Florida and you'll be allowed out of Australia, and we can get together again.
That will be awesome. We can actually, we can have roasted crickets again.
Let's do it. Awesome. Awesome, brother. We will see you shortly.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Talk to you soon.
Bye.